then have a look at this other thing. It says that open pit mining method. So mine working open to the surface. So what are the characteristics of an open pit mine? We have discussed this over and over. So mine working is open to the surface. I have mentioned that before. The funnel-shaped hole in ground with ram spiral down along the sides. So when we say spiral hole road, so we are saying that it looks like a funnel. The open pit mine looks like a funnel that spins. So we then put our hole road spirally along the walls of the pit. And sometimes we can do it in a zigzag form. We use the zigzag approach when we realize that one section of our pit, the rock is stronger than the other. Then we take the whole road there, because look at the excavators and the other trucks that will be hauling along the whole road. And so if we put our whole road on a softer section of the mine, we are likely going to have accidents occurring. And so if we are adopting the zigzag approach, then it means that we know that that side of the wall of the pit is stronger enough to contain the load that will be plowing the place. And so, and then the spirals 1, 2 usually is done when we are confident that the whole of the pit is strong. And so we can use our whole road around the whole pit. So when I'm coming, I start from one end, revolve around. But you realize that that one will be very expensive when the pit is deeper. Once we go deeper, you cannot use the spiral approach of all roads, because if you use it, imagine you want to get into the pit and you have to revolve around the whole pit, round until you get to the bottom and do the same thing as you come out. It's very costly. And so usually if we get the zigzag approach, we love it. We can do the spiral one if the pit is beginning and is small, but as soon as we begin this cut back thing up and down, back and forth, we can no longer apply the spiral haul route. If we do it, unless under certain conditions that are beyond our control, that is when we can do that. Then we have, it is used when the ore body is near surface. All these things are features we have discussed in our earlier discussion, and we also came across this image. So what are the design issues we come across when we are dealing with open pits? We strip overburden, how to locate our haul route, the equipment, and then the sizes of the truck and the truck fleet or the excavators we are going to use. And again, another challenge we come across when we are dealing with surface mine is the pit slope angle and how stable it is going to be. Hello, Mr. Leno, go ahead.
The previous page, is it a processing plant or processing planet? And mining?
Okay, so the planet there is just trying to let you understand that it is a whole environment on its own with a lot of stuff.
Okay, Prof.
That's just what.
Thank you.
If you also want to go straight away a plant, you are cool.
Okay, thank you, Prof.
So we have talked about the design issues that should be taken into consideration when you are planning an open pit mine. The first one is the stripping of the overburden. It can influence your startup decision, how you should start, assuming you have to strip waste or overburden for a long time before you even get to the ore. It means even before you start the work, you should have some capital to be paying your workers, fuel, trucks, and all that for the first few years or first few months of operation. You don't have anything going to your plant, and yet work is going on, and you must pay workers. You don't expect someone to come and work, and at the end of the month, everyone will hear about you and your company if you don't pay them. And so these are some of the challenges we face when we are designing an open pit mine. And so we take the decision very well and find out where you should actually start after you've taken notice of your concession. Where should I actually start so that I'll hit the ore body as early as possible and begin to make some returns as the business progresses? then the location of your haul roads. Which side of the pit should I put my haul road? Example, even within the pit, you should decide that. And then outside the pit, general, as into my plants, and then 2, the waste dams. Where should you locate your main haul road? Because if you locate them at a certain point where in the near future you have to relocate them, it's also another challenge. So your road network is also a challenge in designing an open pit mine, where you have to decide where to locate them. Then we have the equipment, what sizes of equipment, and you choose the equipment based on the production levels you are aiming at. And so if you intend to use bigger trucks, then you should be thinking of larger excavators or excavators with larger buckets, so that they can feed your trucks as quickly as possible for you to make the targeted production that you want. And so if you go for this course, what's the name? Materials handling. I don't know if you have taken that already. If you go for materials handling, that is where you get to know these things, number of passes and whatnot. This one, I am just to tease you. I am to tease you for you to know that mining is joy. And then you go in for those classes and learn more. Then we have the pit slope angle and stability. You have to be able to identify, once you have decided this is the pit limit, it will tell you what angle each of your benches should be, what angle each berm should be, so that at the end of the day, when you add all those tiny angles you get from each bench, you are able to form the overall pit slope angle for your pit to be stable. If you have a pit failure, you are in deep shit. The mineral police will come for you. Your life will never be the same. And so you need to be careful as a mine planner when you are taking decision on your pit slope angles. Do not try to mess up. And these 4 things that have been mentioned, if you don't take these critical decisions on each of them, you wouldn't make. So the first one, second one, and the third one are all in regards to production. But the last one is the main key thing in regards to safety. And no company takes some of these things lightly. And so if you are in charge to plan this and you mess up with the planning, at the end of the day, you are going to cause more harm than good. So this is a typical picture we have here. That is a picture of a typical mine, surface mine, which is an open pit. So we have the waste dump all around. We have our bench. We have our catch berm. So you see the berm is called, they have named it as catch berm. Why is it catch berm? They have named it catch berm because if any material should tumble over from the top, the little space or the step there is supposed to trap falling rocks or any stray rocks toppling over from the top. And so they, instead of just saying a berm, they say catch berm, which is still the same as the berm you know. Then we have a typical haul road, which is shown there. So you realize the haul road is coming from this and moving that way. So having your haul road this way. So this type of haul road is the zigzag method. It's the zigzag method because the whole road is found on one side of the pit. And if it were to be the spiral one, it will move like that, like that, like that until it gets out. So let's have a look at, there are trucks. So a typical mining pit during the day or night when they are in operation, these are the things you see. When you are in the pit, this is how it will look like, with all sorts of noise going on. So this is also another example of a pit in New Jersey, USA, where the open pit mine have got some kind of a failure. So they are showing you the slope. So if you look at how dusty this mine is, it's to tell you that the likelihood of having failure is high because the rock will not be strong. And so if you are taking the decision to put in haul road in this particular pit, you have to be very, very careful. At some point, you have to even make it wider than normal so that operators, when they are driving, they don't come near to the edge of the road, but they would rather go to the far end. And so let's have a look at this other one. So you see, these people who were using the spiral approach, the zigzag approach of haul roads. So because the rock is not strong, you see that the haul roads keep changing. As they go down the pit, the haul roads keep changing. And you could see a failure occurring at this point. So once there's a failure, we have to change the location of the haul road. And that's why we say it is very critical when you are locating where to put your haul roads in terms of open pit mine. It's one of the big challenges you have to encounter. These are also machines dealing with overburden, the removal of overburden material. And this woman there or man there is trying to do what we call, I think he's trying to set up blast. And then this is also a machine for picking up overburden material. And it looks like it has got a conveyor attached to it. So this is a conveyor. It has a conveyor set up to it. So whilst it picks the material, it dumps them here, and then it finds its way connected to a conveyor to wherever it wants. And this particular guys here, we will come across them again. They are trying to use this hydraulic mining. They are doing hydraulic mining where we use high pressure water on the surface of the rock. And as they hit it like that, the materials will be breaking down, and at the end of the day, it flows downstream for them to fetch. It's just like how galamseyers work. So then we have this other images. So I think I've seen a pit like this before. Look at how deep. This one is a typical galamsey, serious. It doesn't look like a normal mine that is being regulated. So let's have a look at this. Haulage. So in terms of haulage, what happens? So haulage is usually by truck, although railroads, inclined rails, and conveyor belts have been used. Conveyance unloads directly into the primary crusher, and crushed materials is stored in coarse or bins prior to shipment to the mill. So in some companies, in open pit mine, usually we use trucks as our main transport system, where we fetch our muck piles, or we haul our materials to whichever location we want to take them to. But then as we go deeper and deeper and deeper, hauling materials from the bottom of the pit to its or a location or its designed location will be very expensive. And so at that point, we have no option than to get a movable conveyor belt into the pit. We mine and push them feed the conveyor belt directly with it, or the crusher directly with it. Then it crushes the material in pit and then hauled up to whichever location you want. And at the end of the day, milling continues. So we will take these decisions when we realize that at this point, this is not going to be beneficial. Then we take such decisions. Blast holes. So we do drilling and blasting as usual when we want to talk about, and we feed it with explosives, we blast, and then at the end of the day, we get what we call the muck pile, and we haul. So you do explosives. Yes, I don't know if you've taken that course too. So if you're interested in knowing more about drilling and blasting, then you go for that course.